Buckle up. Tonight, former Mini Mike Bloomberg's campaign, we can officially report, is on life support with a respirator and feeding tube with little to no hope of recovery. He was literally ripped to shreds in last night's debate. I can't really overstate how poorly he performed. The single worst debate performance I have ever witnessed in my lifetime. Frankly, he embarrassed himself and anyone who supports him, but mostly himself, as, well, he's his only really big donor. Take a look.
Mr. Bloomberg had policies in New York City of stop and frisk, which went after African-American and Latino people in an outrageous way. That is not a way you're going to grow voter turnout.
I'd like to talk about who we're running against. A billionaire who calls women fat broads and horse-faced lesbians. And no, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about Mayor Bloomberg.
We need something different than Donald Trump. I don't think you look at Donald Trump and say we need someone richer in the White House.
The mayor says that he has a great record, that he's done these wonderful things. Well, the fact of the matter is he has not managed his city very, very well when he was there. He didn't get a whole lot done. He had stop and frisk, throwing close to 5 million young black men up against the wall.
We have a very few non-disclosure agreements.
How many is
Let me
that?
finish.
How many is that?
None of them accuse me of doing anything other than maybe they didn't like the joke I told.
That's like a Dana White MMA beatdown. Now, you can buy a lot of things with $500 million. You really can. But you can't buy personality, you can't buy charisma, and apparently you can't even buy good debate preparation. In 2 short hours, this never-ending slick $500 million marketing campaign collapsed before the entire country's eyes. Cover of the New York Post called it a brutal beatdown. Even the far-left tabloid, the New York Daily News, compared it to a massive explosion. Political writing that it was a monumental failure in terms of preparation. The liberal Daily Beast, this is their headline, quote, Bloomberg spends hundreds of millions of dollars to get his ass beat. CNBC reporting Bloomberg took a beating. Former Obama official Van Jones compared Bloomberg to the sinking of a Titanic, you know, when it hit the iceberg. Even MSDNC wacko, Mr. Thrill Up His Leg, Obama-gasm Chris Matthews compared him to a prize fighter who couldn't stop bleeding and didn't have any cut man in his corner to stop the bleeding for him. And according to even fake news CNN, quote, it's unanimous, a horrible night for Bloomberg. You get the picture? So the Democrats' Plan B is an unmitigated disaster. It imploded last night, and with Biden and Bloomberg's epic implosion, there's no Plan C. Last night's debate did prove one thing. The Democratic Party is in a state of complete and utter chaos and a meltdown, and it's only going to get worse. Take a look.
We're going to talk about votes in the Senate in Washington. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about a major policy.
Next question is Hello. Thank you. Senator Warren and Mayor Bloomberg, this question is for you. I want to talk about, and maybe this is appropriate here.
Can I just defend Senator Klobuchar for a minute? This is not right.
All right, let's see. You have a devout Soviet-style socialist leading the way, a Wall Street billionaire that thinks anybody can be a farmer, or a Harvard law professor who's been faking her race for 3 decades, a couple of other sociopaths who are hell-bent on fame and glory. It's like a sick, twisted joke. The weakest presidential field, frankly, in the history of American politics. And last night, it was essentially a circular firing squad, all showing their true colors. I couldn't write it any better. Take a look.
And most Americans don't see where they fit if they've got to choose between a socialist who thinks that capitalism is the root of all evil and a billionaire who thinks that money ought to be the root of all power.
So what we are saying, Pete, is maybe it's a time for the working class of this country to have a little bit of power in Washington rather than your billionaire campaign contributors.
It's not a plan, it's a PowerPoint. And Amy's plan is even less. It's like a Post-it note. Insert plan here.
The only company we can't go after are gun manufacturers because of my buddy here, but that's a different issue.
And you know what? You have not been in the arena doing that work. You've memorized a bunch of talking points and a bunch of things.
ouch, as you can see, a total bloodbath. But through the shouting, the infighting, and the identity politics, we did learn that these, well, insane people who want to be your next president are actually pretty dumb, and their policies are even more chilling. Take a look.
NBC did a poll yesterday. It says Joe Biden is best equipped to beat Donald Trump. That's what your poll said.
You're literally in part of the committee that's overseeing these things, and we're not able to speak to literally the first thing about the politics of the country to ourselves.
Are you trying to say that I'm dumb, or are you mocking me here, Pete?
So
Senator,
maybe
you're
just
writing
the tax code. Why are you complaining? Who wrote the code?
You did. You and your campaign.
99 senators.
You and your camp, not me.
What a wonderful country we have. The best-known socialist in the country happens to be a millionaire with 3 houses. What I miss here?
Well, you'll miss that I work in Washington, House 1.
That's the first problem.
Live in Burlington, House 2.
That's good.
And like thousands of other Vermonters, I do have a summer camp. Forgive me for that.
A los soñadores hay que decir que este país es tu país también.
Gracias.
Everyone was as perfect.
Senator Silvershire.
I wish everyone was as perfect as you, Pete.
Ah, yes. Bolshevik Bernie Sanders, the Soviet-style socialist millionaire with 3 houses who wants to eliminate all capitalism. Now, listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you, well, it should shock you to your core. Bolshevik Bernie Sanders is the Democratic Party's frontrunner. Now, this is what I've been saying. The new radical, extreme Democratic Socialist Party of America. Now, that's the same guy who wants the federal government to, let's see, confiscate your private property, confiscate your private wealth, nationalize our entire energy industry, eventually get off oil and gas completely. That's the lifeblood of the world's economy. Nationalize your healthcare industry. How did Obamacare work out? Put a cap on the amount of money Americans are actually allowed to earn. Dramatically raise taxes on, everyone making over $29,000 a year. That means anybody. The same guy who's heaped praise on almost every single communist dictator around the globe. The same guy who actually, can't make it up, he honeymooned. My first thought, in the former Soviet Union, the communist Soviet Union. And now that whack job, 78-year-old pseudo-communist, well, he could very well be the Democratic nominee. But tonight we can report it seems unlikely that Bolshevik Bernie will get the delegates needed to win the nomination outright, which means this ultimate shift show is going to get much worse. Buckle up. Odds are high. We are headed to a contested convention. Top Democrats are now plotting a way to rip this nomination from Bernie's cold socialist hands. And in fact, at last night's debate, no candidate on stage except for Bolshevik Bernie agreed that the primary winner should go to the candidate with the most votes of the people. They all agree that the process should play out. So superdelegates, in other words, Democratic hierarchy, they have more say at the convention on the second ballot than the people that actually go out and vote and caucus. So that's right. Some of the very same people, by the way, including Elizabeth Warren and Mayor Pete, who want to eliminate the Electoral College, now want a rigged convention. They want to steal the nomination away from Bernie yet again. So buckle up, brace yourselves, because we are only months away from political chaos like we have never witnessed before. This is basically the appetizer. This is just the opening salvo, if you will, a preview of coming attractions. The only question tonight is, will Bolshevik Bernie take this lying down like he did in 2016? Will he and his supporters let the DNC slap him around yet again? Or will Democrats descend into a full-on civil war? I can't predict the future. Make no mistake, none of us should take any election for granted. Stakes are way, way too high for we, the American people. Anything can happen. But last night's debate did have a clear winner, and it was not anyone on that stage. Even Mini Mike, the farmer, Bloomberg, sees the writing is on the wall. Take a look.
So how was your night last night? Look, the real winner in the debate last night was Donald Trump. Because I worry that we may very well be on the way to nominating somebody who cannot win in November. And if we choose a candidate who appeals to a small base like Senator Sanders, it will be a fatal error.
Well, Farmer Mike may be right. Democrats are now limping into Nevada, then South Carolina, and right around the corner at Super Tuesday. This is going to get bloodier and uglier real fast. And with the Republicans clearly all united around President Trump, his campaign has never been stronger.